everyone, and welcome back to Dr. Darnise's House of Religion, Magic, and Conjure. And I know I've been away for a minute. I've been doing a few things, y'all. And I've been saying that to you for a while now, that I've been doing some things and, busy in terms of putting these videos out. But I do like to do it. I do like to come on here and communicate with you all, giving us all something to think about and some history lessons and that kind of thing. But I do want to share with you briefly what I've been up to aside from religion, magic, and conjure. And that is self-publishing my book. And I've mentioned it to you on here a few times in passing. So I'll just do this and then we'll get back to the religion, magic, and conjure. But this is the baby I just gave birth to, y'all. This is called 40 something. As you can see, 10 radical lessons for women on how to live and love without losing themselves, by yours truly. So I hope that's showing up for you clearly and not reversed. Anyway, it's now available on Amazon. It's been a long time coming. I always say that it took me every year of the entire decade of 40 something to write it. And I'm sharing it with you all now just to let you know that that's one thing I've been working on. And I am a coach, and so I definitely believe in having a dream and staying focused on it and giving birth to it. Getting your gift out in the world. So what I want to say to you is, if you have something that's been pressing on your heart and your mind and your spirit, get it out in the world. We all need it. We all need what you bring. And if you need some help with that, how do I do that? How do I turn my thing, my passion, my hobby into something out in the world? I do help people with that. Secondly, and so you can leave that in the comments if you want to. You can email me about that. I'll leave some details in the description box. Secondly, if you are in the Los Angeles area, I'm going to be having a couple of book signings here coming up. 2 in July and probably a couple more coming up in August, and then I'll be back in Ohio, where I'm from, for one in September. So this is just sort of an announcement about what I've been doing and what it looks like now, and also encouragement for you to do your thing. Get your thing out. We all have gifts. We all stand in line as the hope and dream of our ancestors, right? So everything that I do, I think about my ancestors, and I think about what they were not able to accomplish or achieve because of the limitations placed upon them for various reasons, obviously slavery and poverty or whatever, but also there are those structural, institutional things, but in more recent decades, it can be self-sabotage. We don't trust our gift. We don't believe in our gift. We think that it's no big deal. It's, it's already, so many people already doing it. So many things have already been done. Who's going to listen to me? And that's just self-sabotage. You're here. You've been born. You stand as the current generation of your family line. So think about your ancestors and what they were not able to do, and how they are rejoicing at the fact that now you exist and can carry on, right? You can carry forward. And so when we give honor and respect to our ancestors, we are also saying, I carry on, right? So that's that little commercial. The second thing, or the main thing that I wanted to talk to you about, is my recent trip to Savannah, Georgia, and all of the history that I saw there that made me want to come on here and just remind us all, what I always say, if we don't know our history, if we don't value our history, other people will take it from us, they will revise it, and they will give it back to us in the version they want us to have. So you may know that Savannah is one of my favorite places probably in all the world, actually. And this last time I spent 2 weeks there. I spent some time there last summer as well. You can find a video of, from then when I posted about it then. And some historical sites that I went to and all of that. And I think what I'm going to do is make a series of videos talking about various aspects of that trip, different historical things that I want to share with you. But the overall lesson is we have to value our stuff. I always say it, and I really want all of us to get it, because so many of our young people have no idea. And they don't even have to be young, they don't even have to be children. Many of us just have no idea. We have no idea the history that exists in the American South. If you don't live in the South, we have gotten away from the richness of the South. I mean, I live in California. I'm sure people watching this from all over. But we are so far removed from a lot of the history that we just literally don't think about it. And in raising children, we don't tell them, or we don't want them to be burdened by, the history of slavery in our country. But again, if you don't tell your children, your family members, any young people around you about what slavery was, somebody else is going to come along and tell them for you with their spin on it. Maybe you already know that some states are trying to, Texas in particular, trying to revise the history that they have in their school books, in their textbooks. The state of Texas tried this already with, I believe it was McGraw-Hill as their academic textbook supplier, printer and supplier. And there was such outrage because what they wanted to do in the state of Texas was gloss over slavery and say that it was a form of indentured servitude, and that African people came here voluntarily with the understanding that there would be an exchange, being able to come to America, free passage, so to speak, and in return they would be willing to work. So that's indentured servitude, right? That's not true. However, the state of Texas has a lot of buying power because they're an enormous state, and so when they approached McGraw-Hill and said that's what we want in our textbooks, then McGraw-Hill made textbooks that told that version of history, revisionist history. But there was such outcry that the publishing house said, okay, we can't do it. We can't revise history that way. But see, if it happened once, it can happen again. And if you don't know, if I don't know, if we as a whole generation or whole race don't know, if we don't value it, other people will take it and they'll give it back to us or our grandchildren in just that form. Oh, it wasn't so bad. Oh, they had a roof over their heads. Oh, they had food to eat. Well, let me just share with you that we can go and visit the slave quarters that some of our ancestors lived in. You can go to all over the South. I just happened to be in Georgia, in Savannah, Georgia, and I went over to Charleston, South Carolina also. And you can literally see these slave quarters that have been restored or just preserved because they were basically neglected in a lot of these old mansions and on plantations. But in particular, I went to some, urban areas, the mansions of the city residences, the mansions of the slave owners. And so the slave quarters have been neglected, in other words, preserved out of neglect. And so you can actually go in and see the spaces that our ancestors were forced to live in. And so I think what I'm going to do is include some pictures at the end of the video, because I'm just going to have to include some pictures some kind of a way to give you some of what I'm talking about, to give you a look at it. But what I really want to convey here is how important it is for us to recover, to reclaim. And, if you're watching me and you live in the South, I would ask you, do you know what's right there in your own city? Have you taken some of the tours that, other people come there to see. I mean, I know a lot of times when you live in a city, you don't even think to go on the tour, do the touristy thing. But if you don't know what your city is known for or the history that is still there, I'm going to encourage you to go and check it out. I mean, I live in LA and I don't do the touristy things, right? But if it came to my attention, I shouldn't say I don't. Sometimes I do some of them. But there's some richness there that you might not otherwise get. Where else would you find it? So I'm going to challenge you to go in your city and see what there is. See the history. Take the young people in your lives and show them and teach them. You know, the Jewish community has been doing this, right? They always say, never forget. Why do they say that? Why is it important to them? They understand why it's important. And it's up to us to never forget. It's up to us to educate our own. And if we don't, it'll be our own fault. And I'm just going to say it as plain as that. It'll be our own fault. We can't blame other people if we don't bother, if we don't think that it's worth passing on. And, you know, I like to go back to, you know, Africa also to talk about our history. We don't just have slavery as our history. You know, we are far grander people than that. But we need to know that aspect also. So one other thing I'll leave you with in this video, as I said, I'm going to leave some pictures and then come back and do some segments from that trip, is a, I guess I'll just say what it is, right? It's a paint color. It's a cultural remnant from the American slave period, and in particular this was in Georgia. Many of the African Americans would use a particular color of blue paint as protection against negative spirits. So here we get to, finally, we get to talking about religion, magic, and conjure here in this video. And so what I didn't know was that there's a color called Haint blue. And again, if you know, if you have grandparents, well, parents, grandparents, whomever from the South, you may have heard them use the term haint, or a haunt for a ghost or for a spirit. I know in my family, my grandmother would say, you know, oh, do you have that dream when you wake up and you can't move, that paralysis thing? Oh, it means a witch is rising, a witch is riding you, or a haint got you in your sleep. It means a ghost or spirit. And so this is one of these remnants, you know, as I talk about conjure and hoodoo from the American South. What did we do? How do we maintain our spirituality? Well, conjure and hoodoo are some of the traditions that we had, that we put together, we created actually. And so haint is that term that refers to a spirit. Well, haint blue is a certain, like, very light shade of blue, and it was thought that if you paint your, you know, something in your house with that shade of blue, you would be protecting yourself against unwanted spirits. So I went into a slave quarter, and I'll put the picture, and the ceiling was painted Haint blue. And so, as I said, it's been neglected over these hundreds of years, and so therefore preserved by default. Now it's being preserved, but as I said, by default it was just left, thinking nobody cared about the slave quarter. But turns out it's rich, a rich resource there. So the ceiling, you can still see the remnant of that blue paint that those people, those enslaved people, used as part of their spiritual practice, right, to ward off unwanted negative spirits from their space. So when I, you know, went on that tour, I thought that is amazing. It is amazing because it was so rich in its color that it has survived hundreds of years, and which makes me think about all of our traditions, right, that have survived. It makes me think about us as a people. We have survived, and here's this blue, this paint that is, you know, yelling out to us from the 1800s. We were here. This is what we thought. This was part of our religion. This was part of our spirituality. We were here. And as a contemporary person, especially African American person, I can see it. It's like I can almost reach back in time and touch our ancestors. And I should say as well that my people come from Georgia, come up from slavery out of Georgia. So in many ways, part of the reason why I feel so connected to Georgia is because my ancestors literally were there in Georgia. So anyway, I just want to share that tidbit with you in this episode. I'm going to put some pictures here at the end, and wherever I can figure out how to put them in here. But anyway, let me wrap up this video. Thank you all for staying with me. I appreciate your comments. Like and share, subscribe, hit the bell button to know when I'm going to upload more. And as always, bye for now.